Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Linlef, and we're the Keynote presentation group. Our presentation is based on a comparison between the book that we chose, which is Gulliver's Travels, and the country that was assigned to us as a group, which is Kuwait. We will specifically focus to compare the governments on both. To start off, I will introduce you to Kuwait. Kuwait is an Arab country in Western Asia. During the 18th and 19th centuries, Kuwait was a prosperous focal point for trade. In the early 20th century, its regional economic importance declined, and by 1934, Kuwait had lost its importance in long-distance trade. Kuwait's economy was devastated by several trade blockades, which means that they couldn't let goods or people enter or leave the country. The government of Kuwait is a constitutional emirate, which is with a semi-democratic political system. It consists of the popularly elected parliament and the executive branch. The Constitution of Kuwait was approved in November of 1962, and it calls for direct elections to a unicameral parliament, which is the National Assembly. Kuwait has a petroleum-based economy, and in recent years the hostile relationship between the parliament and the government has created difficulties for the country's development.
Hello to everybody, my name is Victoria Guevara, and today I will be speaking to you a very brief summary about the first part of Gulliver's Travel. Well, this whole story consists in this main character that is a doctor voyage, that is a very, very rich man. And he has a family in England that will be his wife and his two kids. Well, in one of his journeys, he got lost and ended up in Lilliput. This is a very unknown territory with the diminutive persons. After arriving of this territory, he noticed that there is another country that is united to this, that is called BEO. Well, after a while, he is considered a prisoner and goes to jail. Well, with the time, he's gaining the trust and the loyalty of the king, and himself naming an Ardyke. There's a very big title for loyal or for good companion, good employee, etc. After all, BEO didn't think that this traveler should be named like this, so it tries to mark different points in his stay to make it look like he was a traitor or had been betraying the king. Well, the king accepts this policy and decided that Gulliver must be killed. And because of the good friendships that this main character has been gaining through the story, they tell him that he was gonna be killed, and this night. And that's why when Gulliver decides that he must run away in the boat that he was building for a while for returning to his country. Well, after a long night, he returns to England and returns to his family. Finally, after a couple of months later, he decides to go in a second voyage. So that will be the whole a brief summary of what consists the first part of Gulliver's Travel.
Part 1. Both Kuwait and Lilliput have very rich cultures, which both include similarities and differences, which few are to be listed. The Kuwaitis are very open-minded and welcoming to their visitors, but their culture and values must be respected. The greeting that the Lilliputians gave Gulliver, which included tying him up from head to toe and shooting a great quantity of arrows in his direction to hold him down, was not very pleasant. But as soon as the emperor came to a conclusion that Gulliver came in peace and with no means to disrupt the values of his kingdom, he gave direct orders to receive him with pleasure in the future. The emperor's actions are similar to Kuwait's policies of forming their culture and laws so that everyone, citizen or visitor, is respectful of each other, nevertheless of their beliefs, of their background. Part 2. Following the note of beliefs in Kuwait, showing any kind of disrespect towards the Islamic religion, which includes looking down on the customs of the holy month of Ramadan, or the tradition of praying 5 times a day at the mosques, could result in a heavy fine of imprisonment, which is somehow similar to the great religious conflict that occurred in Lilliput. In the island, inhabited by very tiny humans, the great religious question, which end should be faithful, break their eggs, at the big end or the little end, which caused great feud and finally made the Islamic split in two. the island split in two. The Bluefusians versus the Lilliputians. I would like to finish off by pointing out three big differences between the two cultures. First of all, in the land that Gulliver finds himself in, dancing is an important ritual in the Lilliputians' culture, while dancing in public in Kuwait is considered inappropriate. But dancing in private, such as in the privacy of one's home, is accepted. Secondly, the dress code of Kuwait includes the traditional Islamic fashion, and it is recommended that no one should travel with no flamboyant accessories. While in Lilliput, the citizens are accustomed to wear a combination of European and Asian 1730 fashion, and the emperor always is seen to be carrying around his sword, which is very extravagant, because of the gemstones and its metal. Lastly, in Lilliput, the parents of a child are the last ones to be trusted with their children's education, and they're all sent to a nearby institution that specializes in many things.
Okay, so my topic is people's opinions about the government in Kuwait. And you could say that people are not really comfortable with their government, or they don't really agree with it, because there have been a lot of protests lately. The last big one that created a huge impact worldwide was one in 2012 about education. But still, there were some protests last year, and there's still issues with the current government. According to people surveys and an international rating of countries, Kuwait is the 29th best rated country. But still, people cannot get to be comfortable or agree with the government because they feel like they're not being really listened to because they're so strict and there's so much issues with what's going on between like religion and things like that in that area. So what oh my god, I look really weird in this, whatever. But what people aren't really comfortable about is that. And on the speech, the actual speech, I'm gonna give like statistics that I haven't memorized yet, and I'm gonna save like more about that protest. That's gonna be like longer about that, but that's basically the idea after, like on it.